When I was a kid, people would ask me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I'd answer, "I want to be an astronaut." But it was a lie. My dream job was to be a crewman in a Free Trader in Andre Norton's science fiction universe. I was getting the "what do you want to be" question in the late 60s, so I can't blame people for assuming that when I said astronaut, and they thought I meant John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, or Michael Collins. But in my mind, and the Britannica Dictionary, an astronaut is a person who travels in a spacecraft into outer space. It's not my fault that people misunderstood. Today I'm going to talk about the books that convinced me this was the career path for me. My name is Brett, and this is The Beast Reads. My career path started at 12 when I read Sargasso of Space by Andre Norton. It's the first in the Solar Queen series about the adventures of the crew of a free trader as they go from planet to planet earning a living by making deals and delivering cargoes. Sargasso of Space opens with our protagonist, Dane Thorson, freshly graduated from the trade training pool, where for 10 years he studied basic mechanics, astrogation, cargo handling, stowage, trade procedures, galactic markets, and extraterrestrial psychology. After graduation, Thorson puts his ID into the Psycho, an impartial career assigning computer that sends him to the free trader ship, the Solar Queen. I wish that had been an option when I got out of high school. Researching my career opportunities at the library, I found The Foundation Trilogy by Isaac Asimov. Many readers say their favorite character in the series is the Mule, but my favorites are Limner Ponyatz and Hober Mallow. Ponyatz is a space trader trading Foundation technology for raw materials with a mission to increase the Foundation's sphere of influence. Mallow is a trader who becomes a merchant prince and leads the Foundation with his wheeling and dealing, holding galactic civilization together against the long night. Speaking of merchant princes, brings us to Poul Anderson's Nicholas Van Ryn, the CEO of Solar Spice and Liquors. The Van Ryn method is a good training manual for the wannabe trader to the stars. In The Man Who Counts, or The War of the Wingmen, Van Ryn shows that even if he is the butt of jokes, he comes out on top in the end. Van Ryn is described as a larger-than-life Falstaffian character. I think that's a Shakespeare reference. Some readers don't like him, but I'd like to work for him. I recently read Andre Norton's The Zero Stone and noticed this line. A cargo master of a free trader does not grow fat and sleek and slow of reflex, no matter if he is not a fighting man officially, but a trader. I wonder if that could be Norton taking a shot at Anderson, so I looked up the publication dates. Sargasso of Space, 1955, and the first Van Ryn, Margin of Profit, was 1956. The quote from The Zero Stone was 1968. Hard to imagine Andre Norton sitting in a library surrounded by cats, being vindictive and starting a flame war. But then we have Anderson's The Trouble Twisters, published 1966, featuring Grant Ryan's protege David Falkine and his crew. Adzel, described as a dragon-like alien, sort of like Norton's The Cathans, and Chan Lee, a small cat-like alien, which immediately makes me think of Norton. Falkine is less over the top than Van Ryn. He's more the traditional dashing and daring space adventurer. If I couldn't get a job with free traders, I'd sign up to get a job with Solar Spice and Liquors in a minute. Speaking of dashing and daring space adventurers, brings us to A. Bertram Chandler's John Grimes. I could follow Grimes' path to employment on the road to the rim. He gets drummed out of the Federation Survey Service after a mutiny which may or may not have been his fault. He makes his way out to the periphery of the galaxy, the rim worlds, and gets a job with rim runners, getting in and out of trouble. I think I could get a job with rim runners. It's said several times in the books that they hire anybody. I qualify for that. Another job in Chandler's universe that I could try for is with the Waverly Royal Mail. A government job with steady work and a pension. But with government work, it's who you know, so I'd have a better shot with the rim runners. Speaking of rim runners, brings us C.J. Cherry's Alliance Union stories, where we have family merchant ships like Finity's End going from star to star, keeping stations supplied. Ships like Finity's End and Dublin Again don't hire outside the family, so I'd have to try to get on with one of the smaller independent freighters. The blueprint for this method is in folk song Sam Jones, written by C.J. Cherry. I'll try to put a link in the description down below, so to speak. It is a haunting and tragic song, but I still want a job on a merchanter. In Cherry's Chinook series, Tully gets my dream job of crewman on the Pride of Chinook, but there's got to be a better way of getting hired on. Tully's ship was attacked by aliens and her crew was taken captive and tortured. All but Tully were killed and eaten, not necessarily in that order. Tully escapes at Meat Point Station and takes refuge aboard the Pride of Chinook. He proves his worth and becomes part of the crew. It makes my resume look kind of lame. Elizabeth Moon's Vada's War series starts with Trading in Danger, as Kailara Vada gets expelled from the Space Academy and reluctantly takes a job in the family business. Kailara is given a ship and starts a career as a space trader captain. Before she gets established, space pirates try to kill her whole family and she must form a space militia navy to keep the galaxy safe. The series goes from space merchanters to military science fiction. It's called Vada's War, after all. But it's very good, and at its heart is the family trading business. With Kalar keeping the space lanes free of pirates, I could go into the Vada transport office and fill out an application to work on a trading ship. In my real-life work career, I worked for M&H Tobacco for 22 years. We were a distributor for tobacco products, candy, chips, jerky, just about everything you could find on the counter at your local mom-and-pop corner store. To get me through the day, I would imagine that our warehouse was a space station, the semis bringing us inventory were merchanters, and my delivery truck was a small ship supplying the customers on the planet. That would look good on an application at Solar Spice and Liquors or Rim Runners or Vada Enterprises, or be enough to get me committed. I never got to be an astronaut, but I've worked my way back and forth across the galaxy, from the periphery to the rim worlds, from Meat Point to down below, working with merchant princes and rim runners. Not a bad work history. If you enjoyed listening to me talk about the books that form my resume, give the video a like. It don't cost nothing. And remember, Styx is the greatest American rock band.